House Democrats are calling for an investigation into whether the Pentagon misused funds meant to combat the coronavirus pandemic to pay defense contractors to build non-COVID related supplies. After a recent Washington Post report, Congressman Mark Pocan and Congresswoman Barbara Lee sent this letter to Majority Whip Clyburn, Chairwoman Maloney, and Chairman Smith requesting the administration be investigated and possibly prosecuted. Pocan told Newsy he feels the Pentagon must be held accountable for not using funds to protect troops. In a statement, he added, quote, "Over 200,000 Americans have died. Hospitals continue to face shortages of masks and supplies, but the Department of Defense would rather use funds to reward defense contractors." Congress passed the CARES Act in March to provide emergency assistance and health care response for individuals, families, and businesses affected by the 2020 coronavirus pandemic. In May, the Department of Defense released their CARES Act spending plan, detailing where $10.5 billion of emergency funding from the CARES Act were allocated, which includes protecting military, civilian employees and their families, safeguarding national security capabilities, and supporting the president's response to the pandemic. And during a June congressional hearing, Undersecretary of Defense for Acquisition and Sustainment Ellen Lord reiterated the need to support the critical needs of defense contractors or civilian employees based on their interpretation of the authority granted to them by Congress.
COVID-19 is shutting down defense manufacturing facilities and production lines, disrupting supply chains, and distressing the financial stability of the companies DoD relies on to protect the nation.
As seen in these reports released in June and July, the Pentagon allocated millions to various companies to help sustain defense critical workforce capabilities in body armor, aircraft manufacturing, and shipbuilding. Companies like Rolls-Royce, GE Aviation, and Steel America. But in July, the House of Representatives disagreed with the defense's stance, stating, quote, "The committee's expectation was that the department would address the need for PPE industrial capacity rather than execute the funding for the DIB." And in recent weeks, the country's leading health experts, like Director of the CDC Robert Redfield, testified before the Senate and pleaded for $6 billion to distribute vaccines in 2021.
I will argue that the thing that I was most concerned of, and my subject matter experts were, who actually generated the letter, which I signed, was that the worst thing that could happen is we had vaccine delivered and we're still not ready to distribute.
Newsy reached out to the Pentagon for comment, and spokesperson Jessica Maxwell said the Defense Department has been very transparent about funding based on how they interpret the powers given to them by Congress. Therese Garnier, Newsy, the Pentagon.